special economic zone development such as Svay and Sertnerville. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. Cambodian citizens living and working in South Korea can apply for a 4-month regular passport from January 2024 onwards. According to an announcement from the Ministry of Labour, more information on specific dates and locations can be found in contacting the Cambodian Embassy in the Republic of Korea during working hours. Minister of Labour spokesperson Qatar Un confirmed to EAC that the next country to provide passport services will be Japan. He added that the royal government aims to provide passports to Cambodian workers in other countries as well. The announcement of the issuance of passports for Cambodians abroad was made in accordance with the recommendation of Prime Minister Hun Manet during a meeting with the workers during September 2023. Facilitating passport services for citizens abroad provides convenience without having to pay for a trip to Phnom Penh to get a passport, saving both time and money. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. In 2023, more than 800,000 foreign tourists bought tickets to Angkor, totaling more than $37 million in revenue, an increase of more than 200% compared to 2022. According to a report by the Angkor Institute on the 2nd of January, foreign tourists bought just over 798,000 tickets to Angkor, while the revenue collected from the ticket sales were nearly $37.2 million. Compared to the same period in 2022, it was an increase of 222% in December alone. Over 98,000 tourists bought tickets, earning the park nearly $4.7 million. Separately, the tickets for sales at Kok Temple have skyrocketed since the introduction of UNESCO World Heritage List this year. In December, the temple received over 2,500 foreigners, earning nearly $38,000, while the yearly income was over $222,000. Boats on the Tola Sap brought about $565,000 for the year, with December tickets bringing almost $64,000 alone. Siem Reap Province attracts more than 304,000 tourists in the 2024 New Year celebrations, around 9,000 of which are international tourists. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. Watching EAC News, thanks for joining us. Since November 14th, the Ministry of Labour has registered nearly 107,000 new members to the Social Security Healthcare Program. According to the Ministry spokesperson, Qatar On, around 97,000 of the residents are self-employed. So far, there have been nearly 50,000 healthcare visits, totaling nearly 8 billion reals through the program. He said that the Ministry of Labour has conducted about 4,600 campaigns in factories, enterprises, rental houses, markets and towns, reaching over 1.3 million potential applicants. He said the Ministry of Labour has been containing its campaign to promote the national program on the Social Security and voluntary healthcare across the country and to advertise benefits and register citizens. According to the Ministry, expanding the scope of Social Security system to self-employed individuals and their dependents has encouraged many more individuals to become members of the National Social Security Fund. It says that the NSSFF has improved the mental health of workers and their dependents by helping to reduce costs, strengthen the stability and predictability of income, and improving their physical health. Prime Minister Hun Manet officially announced the new Social Security program on November 14, 2023, in an effort to help improvised and vulnerable families, especially the youth. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed more than 1,600 Cambodians were in 6 prefectures of Japan affected by Monday's earthquake. There is still no confirmation on how many Cambodians were killed or injured. According to reports, 3 Cambodian students in Ishikawa Prefecture and 5 in Niigata Prefecture were being evacuated. A magnitude of 7.6 earthquake hit Japan on New Year's Day around 4 p.m., the largest registered since the devastating 2011 earthquake that triggered a massive tsunami and left over 20,000 dead. Luckily, no major tsunamis have been reported following Monday's earthquake, but so far 62 deaths have been confirmed, with the number expected to grow as rescue teams search the rubble. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Cambodian Embassy in Japan have been closely monitoring the situation and have been made efforts to contact Cambodians living in Japan. The Royal Government of Cambodia says it considers the safety of Cambodian people to the highest priority. The Cambodian Embassy will continue to monitor and cooperate with the relevant Japanese authorities to regularly report on any developments. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs called on Cambodians living in Japan to remain vigilant and abide by Japanese authorities' guidelines for any personal safety. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. The National Election Committee held a groundbreaking ceremony for its headquarters on the confiscated plot of land in Phnom Penh's Tolobasak district. The land formerly housed political opposition leader Kong Kom and ceded his land to the government in January 2023 after the former Prime Minister Hun Sen accused him of fraud regarding the land's ownership. The groundbreaking ceremony marked as 1 year anniversary of the state taking back Kong Kom's land and was presided over the NEC chairman, Prak Chan, and his wife, as well as the senator officials of the NEC. The Anti-Corruption Unit completed an investigation in Kong Kom's encroachment on the state land on the evening of January 12, 2023. Kong Kom, who was the time advisor to the Candlelight Party, then handed over 5,290 square metres of land to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The land is estimated to be worth over $10 million and was handed over to the NEC, the organisation that finalised the ban of the Candlelight Party in July's elections. As the only major opposition party, the Candlelight Party was barred from entering the election due to the insufficient paperwork. Kong Kom is the father of the senior Candlelight Party official, Kong Malika. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. French President Emmanuel Macron has invited Cambodian Prime Minister Hun Manet for an official visit on January 18th and 19th. He said the Prime Minister's visit would solidarity bilateral relations in economic development, defence, heritage and shared interests in the French language and culture. According to the invitation, King Norodom Sihamoni's visit in November reminded the French president of the strength of the friendship between the two countries. As part of the European Union, France condemned the elections and put Prime Minister Hun Manet in place as an undemocratic. However, President Macron says he holds the Prime Minister in high consideration as is eager to meet him to discuss the economy development and joint methods and reinforce global order, which will guarantee sovereignty and full independence of all states. If the invitation is accepted, this will be the Prime Minister Hun Manet's first visit to Europe as Cambodia's Prime Minister. Having made his international debut in the Asian Summit barely a month into his term, he has since had successful state visits to China, Vietnam, and the UN General Assembly in New York. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. According to a report received by EAC from the Director of Sindhuvuk Department of Tourism, the province received a total of 472,697 tourists from December 30th to January 1st, a 21% year-to-year increase. According to Director Tang Sachet Krishna, about 464,000 of Sentinelville's visitors were domestic, a 21% increase, while nearly 8,600 were international guests, a nearly 2% decrease. He said that nearby islands received a whopping 130% increase of visitors this year and nearly 3,600 celebrating on the islands. The number of tourists on New Year's Eve has increased significantly, and authorities have improved order and safety for tourists. In terms of sanitation, the tourism director noted that many tourists properly disposed of waste. However, the sanitation department is still busy collecting garbage on the beach, showing a general lack of care for the environment. He also blamed user error for the increase of congestion on the Phnom Penh-Sentinelville Expressway, saying the cars did not clearly understand how to use specific lanes and entrance ramps. The Ministry of Public Works and Transport called on citizens to make more use of electronic toll collection lanes and the automatic number plate recognition lanes, which use digital technology and prepaid balances to prevent long waits and manual toll booths. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. This month, more than 700,000 factory workers will receive $204 for their labour, an increase for their monthly wage of 2023. With over half of Cambodia's factories located in and around Phnom Penh, the cost of living for workers is higher than average. Many of them were forced to take out microfinance loans during the COVID-19 and need a wage increase more than ever. Majority of factory workers are women under 30, and many of them campaigned for a $215 per month minimum wage ahead of these discussions, which began in August. Over the course of the 20 meetings, factory owners met with union representatives to discuss this year's minimum wage, with the government presiding. Alternatively, factory representatives agreed to a $2 monthly rise, with the government adding another $2, bringing the total to $204 per month for 2024, far lower than the initial proposal from those working in the factories. Speaking to a crowd of nearly 20,000 workers in October, Prime Minister Hun Manet said that the increase should be celebrated. He said that too much of a rise would affect Cambodia's competitiveness in the global trade, which has already taken a hit after the US and the European Union withdrew preferential tax on exports due to human rights concerns, stating in 2020. Despite all that, according to the Ministry of Commerce, in 2022, Cambodian factories produced garments, footwear and travel accessories valued of more than $10 billion. Anthony Ellis, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. Workers, students and Cambodians living in Japan have been evacuated by the Japanese authorities following a 7.4 magnitude earthquake that triggered the tsunami alerts of the coast of Japan's Ishikawa. According to the Ministry of Labour, there is no information about the dangers faced by the Cambodian community in Japan, as no one has contacted the embassy, the Ministry of Cambodian recruitment agencies yet. However, the Ministry of Labour and the Cambodian Embassy in Japan are continuing to closely monitor the safety of Cambodians in the area. Even though tsunami advisories have lifted along the Sea of Japan, around 1,000 rescuers are searching for people in the rubble and earthquake's aftermath. The Cambodian Embassy called upon those living in Japanese coastal areas to exercise caution and follow the instructions of local authorities in case of evacuation. They asked that anyone with the information of Cambodians affected by the disaster to contact the Royal Embassy of Cambodia in Japan Facebook page. So far, 13 people are confirmed dead in the earthquake. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The Ministry of Health announced 4 new cases of the COVID strain Omicron JN1 yesterday. At present, all 4 patients have been treated and continue to receive cardiology care at their respective homes. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
According to World Health Organization, WHO, the new Omicron JN1 subvariant is a variant of interest, or VOI, meaning that it has not presented a new symptoms or an increase in severity. Having only arrived in September, the JN1 subvariant is still undergoing study. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health Infectious Disease Surveillance System has noted an increase in number of cases of COVID-19 infection with rapid tests among patients receiving medical care at hospitals. Medical experts anticipated an increase in COVID cases and other respiratory diseases as the weather gets cooler. Based on previous patterns, the ministry reminded all citizens to take care of themselves with a high sense of responsibility to prevent the transmission of the new variation and to be hygienic and maintain up-to-date vaccines. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The return of the Westerdam cruise ship has reignited the discussion around former Prime Minister Hun Sen's humanitarian efforts at the outbreak of COVID-19. The cruise ship docked in Sihanoukville yesterday, nearly 4 years after it made an emergency docking to allow its guests to disembark and return home amid worldwide quarantine orders in February 2020. Upon disembarking in Sihanoukville yesterday, guests were greeted with a visual retelling of the former PM's decision to allow the ship to dock after it had been denied port in 5 countries due to COVID concerns. While the World Health Organization praised the efforts of the former Prime Minister and his administration for the successful repatriation of the passengers, not everyone agreed with the decision. At the time, some critics remanded the decision as irresponsible and done for political gain, including human rights activist Kul Panya. Former Prime Minister Hun Sen took to social media upon the Westerdam's arrival on Thursday to highlight the happy return of the ship, while also calling out those who doubted his decision. He said that he had potentially saved the lives of those on board, and cited that the right to life was the ultimate human right, emphasizing that the dead have no use for human rights and democracy. Kristen Winters, EAC News. Watching EAC News, thank you for joining us. The Cambodian People's Party will get top billing on the Senate election ballot in February, when former Prime Minister Hun Sen will run for a Senate seat and presidency of the legislative body. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the details.
On December 28th, Buddhist monks drew the names of the four parties to be included on the ballot, with the CPP being drawn first, followed by the Khmer Rouge Party, Funsipik and the National Power Party. The fifth Senate election will be held on February 25th, 2024, when the government officials will vote on the Senate members. Currently, the CPP holds all Senate seats, and former Prime Minister Hun Sen has announced plans to take over as Senate President. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Myanmar's ambassador to Cambodia, Thich Linh On, is bidding farewell to Cambodia after 4 years in the position. Having started his term before the violent military takeover in Myanmar in 2021, the ambassador is heading to Russia for his next diplomatic mission. Ambassador Thich Linh On met with Minister of Foreign Affairs Sokchenda Sopia on Tuesday to say goodbye and exchange pleasantries upon his exit. Both sides noted with satisfaction the close relationship and cooperation between Cambodia and Myanmar, built on the solid foundation of a long-standing friendship and solidarity, especially through high-level exchanges between the two countries' leaders. The ambassador expressed deep appreciation to Cambodia for its considerable efforts and support through ASEAN to address the political crisis in Myanmar. He said that Cambodia has contributed to peace, stability, and development in his country. It is not yet clear who will replace him as Myanmar's ambassador to Cambodia. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The Westerdam cruise ship has returned to Cambodia nearly 4 years after it was granted a safe haven in the kingdom during the early months of the COVID-19 pandemic. With more than 2,000 aboard, the ship docked at the Sihanoukville Autonomous Port on December 28th, where guests were greeted by Minister of Tourism, Sok Soken. Prime Minister Hun Manet extended a warm welcome to the international guests via social media and expressed hope that their visit would bring more attention to the tourism potential of Cambodia. On February 13, 2020, the Westerdam was granted entry to Cambodia after 5 nations denied the ship entry, including Japan, its original destination. The ship spent days in limbo before former Prime Minister Hun Sen agreed to welcome the guests, later saying, quote, "Humanitarian work has no borders." Passengers and crew, including 1,455 multinational passengers and 802 crew members, began disembarking on Valentine's Day 2020 and were able to return to their home countries. No one on board was confirmed to have contracted COVID on the ship, and at the time, there were only 45,000 cases documented worldwide. The World Health Organization later dubbed Cambodia a small country with a big heart, and applauded the efforts of the Cambodian authorities to secure the safe return of the cruise passengers and its crew. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Minister of Labor Heng Suor signed a memorandum of understanding yesterday with South Korean Governor Dong Han-yuk to provide Cambodians with more opportunities for seasonal work in South Korea. The labor minister thanked the Korean leader for accepting more Cambodian workers in Choncheon City and the surrounding area. In addition to seasonal recruitment, the minister urged the governor to encourage the city's factories to accept skilled Cambodian workers as well. The governor thanked the minister for the trustworthy cooperation of the ministry in sending workers to South Korea under the employment permit system. The ministry noted that any Cambodians wanting to work abroad should apply through the ministry to ensure the effectiveness and protection of workers' rights. In April, the ministry said that more than 60,000 Cambodians are working in South Korea and sending home an average of $500 to $600 million every year. Kristen Winters, EAC News.
តើលោកអ្នកចិត្តរៀបអាពាហ៍ពិពាហ៍មែនទេ ហើយពិបាករកក្រុមហ៊ុនថតវីដេអូផ្សាយផ្ទាល់ដែលមានគុណភាពមែនទេអស់កង្វល់រ៉ាទីកាជាក្រុមហ៊ុនទទួលស្គាល់លំដាប់អន្តរជាតិលើសេវាកម្មថតផ្សាយផ្ទាល់គ្រប់កម្មវិធីកម្រិត 4K ដំបូងបង្អស់នៅកម្ពុជារ៉ាទីកាប្រើប្រាស់ឧបករណ៍ទំនើបម៉ាកល្បីធានាគុណភាពការផលិតតាមបច្ចេកវិទ្យាទាន់សម័យរ៉ាទីកានឹងជួយធ្វើឲ្យកម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកកាន់តែមានភាពអស្ចារ្យលោកអ្នកនឹងបានឃើញរាល់សកម្មភាពក្នុងពិធីទៅលើកញ្ចក់ទូរទស្សន៍ទំហំធំកម្រិត 4K និងការបញ្ចាំងលើផ្ទាំងក្រណាត់សព្រមទាំង LED ដែលមានរូបភាពច្បាស់ត្រជាក់ភ្នែកសូមអញ្ជើញកក់ពីឥឡូវនេះតាមរយៈលេខទូរស័ព្ទ012 823 848 017 838 889និង016 823 848រ៉ាទីកាទំនុកចិត្តការទទួលខុសត្រូវនិងគុណភាពខ្ពស់រ៉ាទីកា Entertainment ក្រុមតន្ត្រីអាជីពកំសាន្តបែបស្រាលពីរោះមិនថ្លង់ភ្ញៀវរំភើបចិត្តពិធីរឹតតែអស្ចារ្យ Relax រ៉ាទីកា Entertainment ញ៉ាំងឲ្យកម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកកាន់តែមានភាពអធិកអធមរ៉ាទីកា Entertainment ក្រុមតន្ត្រីដ៏ល្អសម្រាប់ក្រុមគ្រួសារលោកអ្នកសូមអញ្ជើញកក់ពីឥឡូវនេះសម្រាប់កម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកតាមរយៈលេខទូរស័ព្ទ017 838 889 012 823 848 និង016 823 848
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. EAC News' passionate team of reporters, writers, cameramen and video editors are hard at work around the clock, bringing you world-class reports on everything from local and regional news to the latest international stories and the most dramatic footage from around the world. It takes meetings, research, phone calls and emails. And that's before we even get out of the newsroom and onto the set.
I'm Anthony Ellis, a news reporter for EAC News. Thanks for watching.
Cambodian tourist to China. I'm Kristen Winters. I'm a news reporter with EAC News. Thank you for watching.
I'm Darshana Gauchan, EAC News reporter. Thanks for watching us.
I'm Dekan Nim, Sales and Marketing Manager at EAC News. Thank you for joining us.
I am Hon Srewat, EAC News Channel Manager. Thank you for watching us.
EAC News, English language news show, Cambodia's most comprehensive. The Daily Roundup on the EAC News channel, shooting interviews into the field.